And so yeah, it's just really expounded to help my ministry, because opening up that conversation and that dialogue, I'm very big on conversation, and so it has helped to put me into spaces and put me into rooms where people can talk about the living proof of how God has worked in your life.
Well, for myself, I'm in a church, and we're not where I would like it to be as far as social media or
Okay.
using the media. What advice would you give me as a pastor moving forward and introducing social media or using that platform to propel that, not just myself but the church itself?
Yeah.
It nestles in a community where there are a lot of churches.
Okay.
But it's the only AME church.
Okay. Okay.
And so I'm just trying to find, I know my personality, I know me, just trying to merge that with the congregation, but to be ready to go live or so what kind of advice or?
My first advice would be to pray,
Okay.
to see if this is something that you really want to do. Social media is another beast, and social media has grown ministries, it's grown platforms to like no end. You know what I'm saying? Like I know people and I have friends who have larger social media followings and larger people who follow their social media platforms than the attendance that you actually see in their churches Sunday mornings.
That was one of the, in an article that I read in Dr. Teray class about why the Baptist church and using the media, how the Baptist church is one of the fastest growing denomination, but the attendance, because we're talking about working class people are not always able to be physically in church. So
and so that's the new wave. But at the same token, you have to remember that once you put it out there, you can't pull it back. And you don't have really control of your message and what you're really trying to say, so people can manipulate it and cut it up and slice it up the way they want to. We've seen, I don't know if you remember a while ago, Kim Burrell had a very controversial message, and it almost ended her career. She had a major collaboration with Pharrell, and she was really getting ready to do some big things, and she preached an unpopular message that not a lot of people agreed with, and it almost destroyed her. And she went through a hard time where she couldn't get booked, she couldn't get... and so I would just say, be strategic about what you do. I am a firm believer on the worship moment should be the worship moment. And so if you're going to have an online presence or an online audience, be strategic in that. And what you offer to them. So maybe if you're not going live throughout the entire preached moment, like maybe offering, like a one-on-one nugget that you sit down and you give because in that way it can be a lot more concise. Because you never know what the Spirit may do in the midst. And a lot of times if I put up a 30-minute sermon, somebody gonna clip it to like 1 minute, because a lot of times social media will only allow you to do that minute. And that minute, though it was a good nugget for you, if not placed fully in the context of that 30-minute sermon, it could mean something totally different for somebody else than what it was supposed to mean.
Well, my last question, I thank you so much for your time. Where do you see your ministry and your logo, and what other platforms do you have, or that you're open to, where this is going to take you? Because here again, I'm just not seeing it at ITC, but I did go check around and I noticed that you have a store and it's really getting out there. So where do you see, or where do you want this to take a spin-off from just your logo?
So this t-shirt started as just that, like a t-shirt to accompany my music when I was going to sing in. Like I just wanted to have a table, and since then, like I said, it's spun into a full ministry. A full calling of God.
Are you in a church or church setting?
I am in a church setting.
Okay.
So I do serve as a young adult minister.
Okay.
In the traditional church setting, but my ministry and my brand and this logo is very non-traditional.
Okay.
And so it's spun into a ministry, which then spun into a business, which is kind of like spinning into this nonprofit work.
Okay.
That is really just geared around the sacred space of open conversation and dialogue, and mental health in the Black community, and dealing with that trauma, because it's easy to put on my t-shirt and just say God works, I'm living proof. But when you deal with the layers that are behind that, to actually get me to a place to realize
How does God work?
Exactly.
How does
exactly.
God
Yeah.
work? You say God work,
But
how does God work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like God, I seen you move in her life. Like
Yes.
I seen you bless her. I seen it happening for him. Like I seen him get the scholarship. I seen da 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 da. But like I want to see you that same way. Like I want to be living proof as well. And so it takes work. It takes time to see and to acknowledge those things. So it's really just been a blessing to see it like come full fold. I would love to see me have a physical location to where young believers can really come and have a true outlet of faith. I think in this day and age, like it's very hard to walk the faith walk and walk the journey because there's really not a lot of positive, influences out there, media included. And so to have like a physical space where you can come and you can hang out without the pressures of drugs and drinking and sex and all that kind of stuff, but where you're also having those hard conversations, like if I do decide to make this decision, like what does that look like for me in my faith walk? Like what does that look like? Like how do I bounce back if I fall? And so when I fall, because we all fall short. So to have that physical space and to have that location and to just be able to expand and continue reaching other people who may have felt at one point in life like I wasn't qualified for this, like I didn't reach that, but to flip it and see how God worked, and now like I'm working at this platform and I'm being able to mold the minds of the next generation like I was doing with that program. And so I think that's where I see it in the future, and media is helping me to do that and to get it out there, and it also allows me to control my narrative. And not to let someone else tell my story or tell my testimony. That's why I'm living proof. Because you can't tell my story like I can tell my story.
I can tell mine.
You
You,
know what I'm
don't
saying?
know what the Lord told me. Well, once again, I want to thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Once again, I just want you to turn around so that we can really see this beautiful
This is what it
shirt,
says.
your logo, the
God
image.
works.
God works.
I'm living proof.
I'm living proof. Thank you so much. And I
Thank
wish you so much. And I want one of those shirts.
Okay.